may not be the best cook, but one thing I do like is food. So today we are going to watch the giant 15-pound prime rib from Monster Hunter Wilds arcade with Alvin. So we're gonna see exactly how we can make something like that very, very, very famous scene come to life. Let's get right into it. It already looks so good and it's raw. Oh man. All right, let's do it.
Welcome back to another episode of Arcade with Alvin, where today we're going to be making a giant prime rib roast from Monster Hunter Wilds.
Let's do it.
Now in the game, there's a scene that I really like, where you just open up your cooking menu and you just set up a grill and take this giant rib roast.
Damn, boy, he's thick!
Cook it over the fire, humming the whole way, slicing it up into these beautiful thick steaks, raising it in the air like a trophy, and calling it a day.
Question. Is that from a cow? Is that actually like a cow? I mean, cows are big, right? Like, that's from a cow, right? Or am I bugging? Probably like the size of my face. It's like bigger than the size of his hand. Maybe like 2 of his hands. Maybe it's like 4 of his hands. I'm just saying. It's a pretty big cow.
And there's actually a little bit of dry age on it too, which I think is pretty on brand with the game. The marbling is really nice, and we are very lucky to be able to work with this beautiful cut of meat. So let's treat it with the respect it deserves.
The white stuff is like fat, right? That's what the white stuff is? Or is that like cartilage? Cartilage. Cartilage? Cartilage. That's a word.
So first things first, because this is a dry-aged piece of meat, even though the butcher did a very good job at cleaning up a lot of those funky bits, there's still a couple of little patches that I think would probably be better if we take those out.
What are the funky bits? Explain funky bits to me.
So any of these bits that look a little funky or a little dark, kind of on the gray, black, blue side, I'm going to trim off just to be safe.
I didn't know meat could get gray, black, or blue. What is that?
We're going to save some of these larger chunks of cleaner beef fat to use for cooking later. Now, to season this roast, I think typically people just use salt and pepper, but because this is Monster Hunter Wilds, let's use some more ingredients from the game. First, just start off with a good amount of salt, and then throw in some wild herbs and monster chili, as well as some...
What the frick is monster chili?
Black pepper. The wild herbs, dried parsley, I would say that's the closest to the visual we have. And monster chili, we're just using red chili pepper flakes, which maybe we got from... a monster.
You definitely didn't.
That worked. Once the rub has been made, I'm going to apply that evenly all over the beef. Trying to make sure that we coat all those nooks and crannies, because this is going to need a lot of seasoning.
Is it bad that like I kind of want to eat it already? Like just raw? I would die, right?
So Rachel has built us this wonderful flame.
Thank
you,
Rachel.
This is probably my favorite part. We have these wonderful fireproof gloves for safety. I'm just going to go ahead and pick this giant rib roast up and hold it over. Oh
just
god,
like that?
This is so heavy. Oh my god. This thing is like 15 pounds, which between...
I wonder how long he had to do that for, because it's already pretty black.
What they're probably doing in the game and what I am doing now. This is also kind of an awkward position.
Oh man.
Yeah, let's flip this over, try to get more of that fat cap in there to get a nice color on that. Man, this is real heavy. In the game, you just kind of happily hum while you rotate the beef over the fire for like 3 seconds.
That's true.
Done. This is proving more difficult than I thought, as I myself am not smoke-proof nor fireproof.
Yeah.
It seems like every time the beef is over the fire, the fat drips down, causing the fire to grow a little bit bigger, which is good for the beef. Not as much for my hands and me.
Yeah.
But the good thing is we are getting quite a quick sear and coloring on a lot of these good areas.
Well, that's good.
So after a couple minutes of positioning, maneuvering, taking lots of
get
breaks
the other
and
side
shaking
now.
my hands because they're kind of tired, I've decided the best way to move forward is instead of cooking this whole thing over the fire, which would probably require some sort of hanging rotisserie setup.
Oh,
I think we should compromise by getting a nice sear on the outside and going inside and finishing it in the oven. So
I was right. Point 1 for Kazu, who has barely any cooking experience.
And just use conventional machinery. Okay, here's the roast after getting a good sear on as many sides as I could. And now that I'm thinking about it, the fat has already started to separate a little bit, but because one side of the rib roast is larger than the other because of the way that the rib meat works, I'm going to just trim off this wedge of fat just because 1, I don't think people want to eat that, and 2, I think it'll actually make this cook a little bit more evenly considering that the rib roast tapers a little bit towards one end.
Is it just me, or am I the only one who likes fat on their meat? I love fat, guys. Fat is so good. I love all the lumps, you know? Fat is fantastic. I think it's so tasty.
Trim off those chunks of fat, but also save them in case we need to use that later. I have a good idea for what we can do. There's actually a couple of village meal scenes in Monster Hunter Wilds, which are these very delicious, huge spreads of glorious food from all sorts of areas around the world. And I think one of them could actually work really well for this. There's a scene where you have a meal with the Suja village.
Yes.
And they kind of take out this large meat roast. They cut it in thin slices, and it's wrapped in lettuce leaves with a nice brown sauce topped with scallions. And they also crack this onsen tamago, or some really, really soft cooked egg on the side. It kind of reminds me of Japanese barbecue and Korean barbecue. So let's start with that brown look.
I know he's wearing an eye mask. He has to. My eyes would be crying.
Now this sauce should definitely go well with some rich fatty meat. I'm guessing something like an onion-based sauce. So I'm going to cut up a whole red onion into small pieces and then go over to the stove where I'm going to take those trimmed off beef fat trimmings from the roast earlier. After that renders down into beef fat, we're going to throw our onions in, give that a nice saute once they're nice and brown, not all the way caramelized. I'm going to eyeball some gochujang, some soy sauce, some rice vinegar, some Chinese black vinegar, and some honey. That way we have a little bit of spice to emulate the Korean barbecue style sauce. We have vinegars for
I'm like mesmerized.
Sourness, and we have honey to balance that out. So that way those chunks of onions can kind of turn this into a more smooth sauce, like the one we see from the game. I'm sure it would be great if you didn't have to immersion blend this, and it would probably be really delicious with those chunks of onions, but I think the smoothness of a sauce, especially for a lettuce wrap, makes a little bit more sense.
Okay. Yeah.
After a few hours, our beef has now reached 110 in the middle. Let's take this out. Let's look at that outside for a little bit. Something about a nice, well-browned meat roast is always going to be something that I would like to pause and appreciate on here. And once this has rested for quite some time, at least an hour or so,
let's
like go ahead
butter.
And cut it
like
open.
butter.
Like they do in the game. You have this whole giant roast in front of you, and you take a knife and you cut a thick steak off for yourself. That was pretty satisfying. See the inside? But the center looks pretty good to me. I like my beef this way, so that's the way we're gonna do it.
What would you call that, guys? That's like medium rare. I like my meat medium rare.
First, you gotta raise it like a trophy, like you do in the game.
Kind of looks like it.
Yeah, yeah, there you go. Woohoo!
Yeah, we made that.
And in true Monster Hunter style, we're gonna take a bite directly from the cap part of the steak, which is my favorite part. This is actually something I'm always wanted to do, but never wanted to admit, and this is my excuse of doing so.
Oh man, it's
the first few bites of a ribeye steak or a prime rib are arguably the best, and this is a delicious bite. I can see why this would give you a good buff to go into battle for quite some time, but let's be a little bit more realistic with the amount of meat that we cook today.
Let's do it.
Just like they do, we have some nice butter lettuce here, some pretty lettuce to wrap our meat in.
Why is it called butter lettuce? Is it because it's smooth like butter? I didn't even know there's different kind. I know one kind of lettuce, and that's iceberg lettuce. I didn't know butter lettuce was a thing.
We're gonna go to our roast and cut off some thinner slices from it. Let's layer that onto our lettuce wrap. Lettuce down, meat on top, some of that onion sauce in between, more meat, more sauce, and some chopped scallions just to give it a little bit of bite to it. And then, just like in the game, they kind of fold itself into a taco. Like that is our version of the Monster Hunter beef lettuce wrap from the Suja village. This is a great bite. I kind of think with all this dry-aged, funky, fatty meat, the sauce is my favorite part about this.
Funky, fatty meat is not the choice of words maybe I would have used, but go off.
Usually it always is. It goes really well with the meat. Isn't exactly the same as Korean barbecue, as it's quite different, but still has those fun elements. Just eating a large bite of vegetables, meat, some nice bright sauce, and some scallions to kind of make it a lot more delicious. That meat looks
so soft,
I
guys.
personally enjoy this a little bit more than taking a bite straight out of the tomahawk. That's because there's more flavors going on.
Okay,
so we're gonna follow those wonderful instructions.
I'm totally gonna make this for breakfast tomorrow.
Of just one cookbook. Bring a couple of cups of water to boil, turn off the heat, add in a cup of cold water. That'll bring the temperature down to a point where it emulates the same temperature of those volcanic hot springs. I'm gonna place 2 eggs in here, cover that, and let that cook for about 17 to 20 minutes. And once that's ready, I'm just gonna straight up crack these 2 eggs into the bowl, and out comes 2 onsen tamago. And just like eating,
it's kind of like a poached egg, no? Is it like a poached egg? Right? It is one, isn't it? That looks so good over ice. Oh my goodness gracious.
Sukiyaki.
Or like a beef stew. Oh man, I'm so hungry.
We're gonna take our beef and plunge our beef around until we pop those yolks. I'm sure that sounds a little weird, but this is all for the sake of tasting good. So after that's all mixed around and the beef is well coated and everything we put into this bowl, I'm going to give this bite to our friend Nico, because he's working hard and definitely deserves a snack.
It looks a lot less appetizing, I'm gonna be honest with you, but I can taste, even just by looking at it, all the flavors that are definitely showing through this. And holy moly, I'm jealous.
And I have an idea for our next video, which we can use this meat and make some more fun Monster Hunter dishes.
Oh yeah?
So stay tuned for that one, because that one is also...
Did he just knock it down? Did he knock it down? It looked like he knocked it down, guys. Wait a
fun
moment.
Monster Hunter dishes. So stay tuned for that one, because that one...
Guys. He did that on purpose. He did that on purpose. I know he did.
That one is also quite exciting.
I want meat now. Guys, please show love to the original video. It is the giant 15-pound prime rib from Monster Hunter Wilds. This is Arcade with Alvin from the channel Babish Culinary Universe. You should totally take a look. I'll have the link in the description below. But I'll see you guys next time for another reaction video. Thank you, everybody, and stay radiant.